Thank you for tuning in. This is Tikeng, and today we are going to look at the issue of Social Security for illegal immigrants. And Elon and his team have been doing a lot of research, and they've come up with data on Social Security that has been provided to illegal immigrants. Typically, Social Security numbers are for U.S. citizens, permanent residents, green card holders, and people of other legal status in the U.S. The point of a Social Security number is for work and earnings that go with benefits such as Social Security and Medicare. All right, let's take a listen at what their findings are.
Does it work? It'll be okay. I mean, Buzz Aldrin's still alive, and he went past the belts.
Didn't work. Is this working? Yeah, it's on now. Yeah.
There we go. So, Antonio, can you tell us what you? Antonio is helping out with the Social Security. So, just trying to review Social Security, where you may have heard that we found 20 million dead people marked as alive in the Social Security database. This is so crazy. And then you'll notice there's a strange trend here where
20 million dead people receiving Social Security. Can somebody make that make sense?
how many Social Security numbers were issued. Do you want to?
Yeah. So let me tell you what happened here. We started at the top of the system.
You want to talk about a lot of maybe?
We started at the top of the system, mapping the whole system of Social Security to understand where all the fraud was. And there's a lot of great people there that showed us really a lot of waste. And so that came up with a big list of stuff that we're working on. You've heard some of that already. But this is what jumped out at us. When we saw these numbers, we were like, what is this? In 21, you see 270,000 people, goes all the way to 2.1 million in 24. These are non-citizens that are getting Social Security numbers.
Yeah, this is a mind-blowing chart.
Yeah, just this literally blew us away. Like, we went there to find fraud, and we found this by accident. And this isn't political, by the way. My parents are immigrants. Yeah, this country's been great to us. My brother and sister all born in Spain. I'm pro-legal immigration.
It's too bad we have to constantly explain ourselves whenever we're talking about immigration as immigrants because people have refused to be objective, okay? They refuse to say what is the truth and what's not. In this case, we are talking about something that's happening in the system that they are trying to resolve. Like something like people receiving Social Security when they shouldn't. It shouldn't be, he shouldn't have to explain himself and say, oh, it's not political. But unfortunately, we are in an era where um, people have refused to be objective. You have to always constantly walk on eggshells. And as an immigrant myself, I have people that constantly tell me, oh, you guys have come here and you don't want other people to come. Now, why would I want that? I'm just standing for what is true and what's lawful. It's that simple. It has nothing to do with, I wouldn't even want that for my country of origin, right? I'm from Cameroon originally, and I wouldn't want our government to just open our borders open for Nigerians, Gabonese, or other countries to just come in at will. They have to vet the people coming into our country, and this is what they're doing as well here in America. Okay?
This is not political. This is not political. This is about America and the future of America. And there are a lot of good people in the system that pointed us in this direction. I want to honor them right now, that work in the government today, who took risks to show us these numbers and tell us what's going on.
Yeah.
So I want to stop for a minute. I want to honor those people today. Very good people. Very good people. I have been from D.C. to Social Security offices to the border to track this down, and very good people have helped us along the way. I want to thank them.
That's amazing that he acknowledges some of those good people in government that want this administration to succeed. Because at the end of the day, if this administration does succeed in what they're doing and on covering all this fraud and waste, and it's a win-win for everybody, because you hear some people actually praying for this administration to fail. Why? How does that benefit anybody if they fail? It's a win-win if this administration succeeds in what they're doing, right? And for him to acknowledge that, because normally, under normal, no, let me not put it that way. Let me just say this. We, most of us typically condemn the government or we push back on any government initiatives, right? And we are constantly um, critical. Let me put it that way. We're constantly critical of the government, and we forget that there's people in the government that really, really love this country and want this administration to succeed. We, even last year when I didn't support Biden being president, but I wanted him to succeed because if he succeeds, we all win. It's a win-win. Okay? So that's what he's saying here.
Them.
Yeah.
This number, what this is when you come in the country, if you're an illegal, there's a couple ways to come in. You come in through a port of entry, and you can tell them you're afraid, and they'll give you an asylum case. You'll get an interview, then you get in. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to just go to the border. Literally, this happened. I talked to Border Patrol myself. Elon was there too. I went to Laredo, and I went to Bronzeville. Elon went to Eagle Pass. You walk up to a Border Patrol officer, and you tell them you want to come in. They have a couple of choices. They could charge you with a misdemeanor or a felony under 1325, or they can make it an administrative offense, like a parking ticket, basically. They were told to do that, make it an administrative offense under the last administration. And then you go walk across the border, they do what's called a release your own recognizance, and they give you an NTA, a notice to appear, which to appear at a judge. The wait times on judges are like average 6 years. Look at Grok, you'll see it on immigration judges. There's only 700 of them. This is 5.5 million people. Okay? So what happens then? Once you're in the country and you got asylum through one of these pathways, and we map the whole thing out, you can apply for a work document. You file a 765, it's the work form. You get this form called the 766, that's the authorization, and then Social Security Administration automatically sends you in the mail your Social Security number. No interview, no ID.
This is worth like
Now, did you hear what he said? 700 immigration judges for 5 million immigrants? That is not sustainable. This is what we've been talking about, leaving that border wide open. You have 700 immigration judges and you have 5 million people to process documents. This would take years. He just mentioned it takes 6 years. Who wants to come sit here and wait for 6 years to have your documents processed? What are you going to be doing during that time? This is why you can't just open the border and leave it wide open for everybody to come in. There has to be a process. You know, you have to at least vet people or it have a certain amount of people come in, at a certain time. So it makes the workload easier on the immigrants coming in and easier on the judges that are processing these documents. Ugh.
just reiterating, it's not, people sometimes think that under the Biden administration that he was simply asleep at the switch. He wasn't asleep,
No.
they weren't asleep at the switch. It was a massive, large-scale program to import as many illegals as possible, ultimately to change the entire voting map of the United States and disenfranchise the American people and make it a permanent, deep blue, one-party state from which there would be no escape.
Look, if I hadn't seen this myself, I'm not
Did you hear that? So Elon's really nice here because they they left the border wide open because they wanted a voting bloc. These people are basically a voting bloc for them. It's not like they care about these people coming across the border. They're just using them because at the World Economic Forum, they're constantly talking about collapsing. I mean, they don't use those exact terms, but based on the plans that they have for the universe globally, they are trying to collapse societies. They've done that in so many European countries. If you go to European cities these days, you will not recognize Rome, you will not recognize Berlin, France, Paris. You don't recognize those cities anymore. you know, because they flooded the entire place with immigrants from all over at the same time. And they're doing this to collapse society because they know the indigents of those countries will always push back on those stupid policies that they always come up with. So they need to bring in immigrants that are going to vote for them and the same immigrants they can control because basically when these immigrants come in under a certain administration, of course they're going to be voting for you. They're going to be voting for that administration. So they're basically a voting bloc. That's what they are. Not necessarily because they care, oh, they this let's bring in these immigrants because oh they have these problems they can't live in their countries, you know. Um, and when you talk like this, a lot of people will tell you things like, oh, you've come here and you don't want other people to come. Now, why would I want that? I want everybody to come here, but it's not sustainable to just open the border wide open and let everyone come in. It's not. I mean, this is proof right here.
Tried to believed it. I went through it myself and mapped it. And Elon is right. This is true. The defaults in the system from Social Security to all of the benefit programs have been set to max inclusion, max pay for these people, and minimum collection. That's what's happening. We found 1.3 million of them already on Medicaid, as an example. We've gone through on every benefit program we went through. We found groups from this particular group of people, this 5.5 million people, in those benefit programs. And then what was really, really disturbing us was why. We're asking ourselves why.
Right.
And so we actually just took a sample and looked at voter registration records. And we found people here registered to vote in this population, yes.
And who did vote?
And we found some by sampling that actually did vote. And we have referred them to prosecution at the Homeland Security Investigation Service.
Yeah.
Already. Already. That has already happened.
Now about that, um, they found how many million people? Illegal immigrants that voted last year. So we have veterans, homeless veterans on the streets, and we have homeless people here who have paid into the system, paid into Social Security. They're not getting benefits. And you have illegal immigrants that are coming from different countries, like yesterday, and they're getting Social Security. Make that make sense. Now, he did mention the fact that they've provided the names of those illegal immigrants that have voted, you know, to be prosecuted. I don't know that I agree with that because I think that the elephants that are providing the social security numbers and those that open the border wide open should be the first to be prosecuted because they did this. Those immigrants are coming here because the border was wide open. I would come if I heard the border was wide open. Yeah, I would do it, you know. But they're gonna start prosecuting those innocent people. I mean, I call them innocent, they're illegal immigrants. Those people that came in here because the border was wide open. No, you cut the head of the snake first. So I don't know what you think. If you think otherwise, comment below and let me know what you think. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for you today. I hope you got value from this video, and I would say keep listening, keep learning, keep reading, and have an open mind. Bye bye.